The snow hadn't started yet, but the wind sliced through my coat like November had secrets it wasn't ready to share. I rested one hand on Ella's small shoulder, the other steadying the casserole I'd made from scratch last night. Jake followed close behind, cradling the pumpkin pie like it was a treasure. We rang the bell. No one answered. After a pause, I let us in through the back door, the same one I'd used since I was tall enough to reach the knob. The kitchen greeted us with a scent of sage, roasted turkey, and the cinnamon glaze Dad always drizzled on the ham. Should have felt familiar. But no one looked up. My mother was at the counter, folding napkins into precise, sharp triangles. Her hair was shorter than I remembered. Her smile gone. She gave a quick glance toward the kids, then returned to her folding, as if napkins were all she could manage. Dad stood by the front window, swirling his bourbon slowly, like he was waiting for someone who mattered more. My brother Ryan was already half drunk, feet kicked up on Dad's recliner, arguing loudly about football with Uncle Dean. Nothing new. His wife Jenna clung to the armrest beside him, laughing in short bursts, too loud too often. Cleared my throat. Happy Thanksgiving. Jake placed the pie gently on the counter. We brought dessert. The silence lingered before Rachel, my sister, ever the peacemaker, finally said, "Hey Lee. We weren't sure you were still coming." Blink. "You invited me." Rachel gave a small shrug, her smile tight. "Ryan thought maybe you'd changed plans. It's been a lot lately." Ella tugged at my sleeve. "Mommy, where do we sit?" I glanced toward the dining room. 12 chairs, each set with a folded napkin and a name card in Jenna's flowing handwriting. 12 plates. One long table. I counted again. No kids' table. No high chairs. No extras from the garage like other years. Just 12. Rachel followed my gaze and cleared her throat. "We thought the kids might like eating in the den. There's pizza, a movie. It'll be more fun for them." Jake said nothing, but the set of his jaw said he understood. No one asked how we were. No one mentioned the new apartment or Ella's school, or if I needed anything. I hadn't expected much. But I'd expected something. I looked around the room, at my family, the house I grew up in, and felt it hit me hard and quiet. I wasn't home. I was a visitor. Maybe. Ella's hand stayed in mine. I didn't squeeze back. Not yet. I got the kids settled in the den. Paper plates. One fuzzy blanket between them. The fun table, they called it, but no one had asked what they wanted. I stayed a moment, brushing Ella's hair from her face, straightening Jake's collar. His eyes held mine. "When are we leaving?" he asked softly. "Soon," I told him. "But not yet." Back in the kitchen, the bourbon was flowing more freely. Dad laughed at something Ryan said. Mom opened another bottle of wine, never once looking at me. I placed the casserole next to the untouched tray of deviled eggs. "We'll probably head out after dessert," I said, not to anyone in particular. No one responded at first. Then Ryan lifted his glass. "Busy mom life, huh? Always in a rush." Jenna laughed. "We get it. Single parent things." Like she'd never leaned on anyone. Like I wasn't standing right there. I stood taller. My voice didn't waver, though it came out low. "Actually, I have something to say." That got their attention. Jenna froze mid-smile. Rachel lowered her glass. "I'm stepping back," I said. "From everything. The tuition. The help with bills. All the extras." Dad's face shifted, just slightly, like someone had moved something he didn't know he'd owned. "I thought you wanted to," Rachel said quietly. "I did. Do care. But I can't carry it all anymore." Ryan snorted. "Since when is a split water bill carrying anything?" I met his eyes. He hadn't paid a loan in a decade. Still rode around on my parents' dime. But I left that unsaid. "I'm doing what's best for me and the kids," I said. "That's it." No one thanked me. No one asked why. Then Mom spoke. "We never asked you to." The silence that followed didn't feel uncomfortable. It felt finished. I picked up Ella's sweater and tucked it under my arm. Jake met me in the hallway, pizza crust in hand. Are we leaving? Jake asked. I looked down the hallway, past the row of coats, past the dusty photo frames untouched for years. None of them had my face. Not yet, I said again. But something in me had already gone. The drive back was quiet. The kids fell asleep in the back seat, their heads drifting toward one another, still smelling faintly of cinnamon and pie crust. The car was warm, but I cracked the window anyway. I needed the sting of the air to stay grounded. When we stepped into the apartment, it was still. Not the aching kind of stillness that once felt like absence. Tonight, it felt like space to breathe. Jake kicked off his shoes and, without a word, circled back to line them neatly against the wall. I didn't need to remind him. Somewhere along the way, he'd learned to remind himself. Ella climbed into my lap without asking, pressing her face into my sweater, sticky with frosting and something quieter. Did we do something wrong? She murmured, voice soft and uncertain. I didn't speak right away. I just ran my fingers through her hair and counted the gentle rhythm of her breath. No, sweetheart, I said finally. Sometimes people treat us in ways we don't deserve. But we still get to choose what we hold on to. She pulled back and looked up at me, earnest, solemn. Do we still love them? There was no bitterness in her voice. Just the open, aching curiosity of a child who hasn't yet learned how messy love can be. I think love can stay, I said, even if we don't go back so often. Jake was curled beside us under the blanket. He hadn't asked for affection in years, but he leaned quietly against my side, and that was enough. We stayed like that for a long time. No TV, no music. Just the hush of the room and the steady beat of being together. On the coffee table, I spotted Ella's drawing from earlier that week. 3 stick figures under a crooked sun, all holding hands. Hey, Ella. Written in shaky purple marker. No grandparents. No cousins. No one missing. No one else. I didn't change it. I didn't need to. I reached for a magnet and pinned it to the fridge. Right where we'd see it each morning. Outside, the wind swept the last of the leaves across the pavement. Inside, we were exactly where we were supposed to be. The first missed call came Tuesday. Rachel. Then 2 from Mom. 1 from a number not saved in my phone. I knew it was Dad. He never added his contact info. I let them go to voicemail. They stacked up like unopened envelopes. Short messages. Clipped words. No apologies. Just half-finished thoughts. Hey, Alyssa. Just wondering if you made it home okay. Kid seemed fine. We've got a little situation with the house. Nothing major. Just maybe we could talk. Your father says hi. By Friday, Jenna slid into my DMs on Instagram. Not even a proper message. Hey, justify. Ryan's dealing with something. Might be good if the family touched base. Let us know. Not how are you. Not we miss you. Just an update. Request. That evening I stood in the kitchen, lights low, phone face down on the counter. Jake was asleep on the couch, a library book slipping from his chest. From the bathroom, I could hear Ella humming the melody to her favorite song. Half remembered but sweet. I leaned back against the counter, watching the red light on my phone blink steadily. Like a warning. Like a heartbeat. I didn't play the messages. I didn't need to. They weren't calling because they saw me. They were calling because something broke. The next morning Rachel came by. No text. No warning. Just a knock on the door, and her standing there with a paper bag of donuts like it was 2008 again, like we were still 2 sisters killing time between classes. She looked worn down. Smudged lipstick. Eyes restless. Can I come in? She asked. I stepped aside. She didn't sit. Just hovered near the counter, fingers wrapped around a clean mug like it gave her something to do. It's Ryan, she said. He messed up. Really messed up. And now Mom and Dad are spiraling a little. Waited. She glanced at me, careful. They could really use your help sorting this out. There it was. Not can we talk. Not we're sorry. Just the unspoken math of you fix things. But I wasn't holding that job anymore. I'm glad you came, I said gently. I really am. Her shoulders lifted, hope flickering. But I don't think I'm the one they should call. Rachel didn't argue. She just stared at the mug in her hands, then nodded like something had finally settled. Before she left, she looked around the apartment once more. You really made this place feel like home. I didn't tell her the kids had done most of that work. I didn't hear anything for 6 days. Then the emails started. Not to me, Jake's school. Ella's daycare. Both had my parents listed as emergency contacts. Both flagged for failed payments. Next came a call from my old bank manager. I still had alerts set up from when I managed Dad's mortgage during his surgery. Just a courtesy heads up, she said. Your father added someone new to the account last month. There's been an activity. That's how they say someone pulled out $19,000 in 2 weeks. The someone was Ryan. Apparently he'd borrowed against the house, then tapped Dad's credit line to cover a failed business idea. Some crypto-flavored mess with no paperwork, no plan, just confidence and charm. Now the walls were closing in. Mom texted a full paragraph. Not angry. Just scattered. If you have any bandwidth, we could use help negotiating with the bank. You always had a way with words. They listen to you more than they ever do us. No mention of Thanksgiving. No mention of the casserole I carried like peace. Just we need you. I stared at the message a long time. The next day Rachel sent a photo. The front porch of the house. Paint chip. A foreclosure notice taped to the door like a scarlet letter. No caption. She didn't need one. That night, Jake heard me moving dishes louder than I meant to. He wandered in, rubbing sleep from his eyes. They're in trouble, huh? He asked. I hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, they are. He looked down at the tile, toes curling. Are we going to help them? I knelt beside him, one hand on his back. We're going to do what's best for us. That's what I promised. He leaned into me, small and warm and trusting. Once, I would have been halfway across town already. Laptop open. Crisis plan type. Bank calls queued up. But I stayed right there on the kitchen floor, holding my son and watching the teakettle steam. They built a house of glass around Ryan, convinced the sun rose and set in his hands. Now that it cracked, they wanted me to fix it. But I had stopped bringing glue to a place I was never invited to sit. Rachel called again Sunday morning, early. I was folding laundry. The sun was barely up. The kids were still asleep. Her voice was flat, stripped down. They might lose the house this week. I paused, holding one of Jake's shirts, the one with the faded rocket ship. What do you want me to do, R.A.? Silence. Then finally. Just come by. Talk to them. Maybe they'll listen if you're there. I almost smiled. Not because it was funny. Because it was familiar. He kept going. They don't need money. They need help negotiating. Your calm voice. Your logic. My calm voice. My logic. All the things they once called cold. Too calculating until now. I told her I'd think about it. That evening she showed up again. No warning. This time no donuts. Just herself and a folder. Inside, bank statements, letters, a note from Mom written like a grocery list. I'm just the messenger, she said. Don't shoot me. I'm not angry, I said. And I meant it. She exhaled, shoulders easing. Look, I know it hasn't been fair. I know they've leaned on you more than anyone. Waited. But there's still family. And we're in deep. You know what people say if the house goes under? The neighbors talk. The church talks. There it was. The real fear. Not losing shelter. Losing face. Rachel looked at me, searching for the old rhythm between us. You always kept the peace. I closed the folder gently. I'm not angry, I said again. But I'm done being useful only when it hurts me. Rachel didn't argue. Not really. But her tone changed. So that's it, she said, light, too light. You're just out. Not cruel. But not kind either. I'm not out, I said. I just stopped showing up where I'm unwelcome. She stood for a moment, tight-shouldered. Then placed the folder on the counter. Just in case, she said. I didn't walk her to the door. That night, I found Ella asleep in my bed, curled into the blankets like a secret. I didn't move her. I just lay beside her and watched the moon through the blinds, quiet as snow. The next time the bell rang, it was Dad. I hadn't seen him in person since Thanksgiving. He looked smaller, gaunt, shoulders stooped with a weariness that sleep couldn't fix. He held his hat in both hands, like he wasn't sure what to do with it. He said my name once, softly. "May I come in?" I didn't reply. I stepped aside. He stayed standing. His gaze drifted over the hallway photos. Jake's volcano project, Ella in her Halloween astronaut costume. "You've done well," he said. I said nothing. He rubbed his forehead. "As for your brother, we simply missed the signs." I let him sit in that silence. After a moment he said, "Your mother wanted to be here, but she's ashamed." I offered gently, "She's welcome too." He didn't contradict me. "We never set out to shut you away," he went on. He hesitated. "It got tangled. Your choices made everything harder." Your choices. A refrain I'd heard before. The decisions I'd made to protect myself, now recast as burdens they'd never carried. "I'm not here to debate," he added. "I just wanted to know if there's anything you could do to help us keep this whole thing from falling apart." I studied him. This was the man who taught me to change a tire, to balance a checkbook, to speak with confidence, yet never how to ask for help without pride. "You built a system," I said slowly, "where I only belonged when I was pulling weight. Now you want me back. Not because you missed me, but because your system failed." He opened his mouth, closed it again. I stepped forward, not to comfort but to be clear. "I was here," I said. "Every holiday, every bill, every meltdown. I was here." He was silent. "I was here," I repeated. "You only noticed once I left." His look then was nothing like before. He didn't rush to fill that space. When he rose to leave, he didn't take the folder Rachel had left on the counter. He didn't say goodbye. He simply nodded and walked away. I stood in the dark hallway for a long time. Then I switched off the porch light. That winter passed quietly. The holidays came and went. Fewer calls. No group text. No invitations. The silence felt deliberate, not cruel. I put up very little for Christmas. Just a string of lights around our window and a small tree Jake and Ella chose themselves, adorned with paper stars and plastic ornaments. It was enough. Early January, I checked the mail and found a hand-addressed envelope with no return. Inside was Mom's handwriting, tight, flowing, 4 pages. A jumble of memories and half apologies. One line stood out. "We never meant to hurt you. We just didn't know where you belonged anymore." I slid the letter back into its envelope and tucked it into the drawer by the scissors. I didn't trash it. I just never read it again. A week later, Jake asked if we could change the photos on the hallway wall. "What do you mean?" said. He pointed at the aging frames. Old birthday parties, school plays, us as kids. "Just us now," he said. And so we did. Together we took every picture down, dusted the frames and started fresh. Alyssa, Jake, Ella. Picnics, spelling bees, Halloween adventures. One photo I printed large. The 3 of us curled on the couch, laughing at something only we knew. I hung it front and center. No extra names. No explanations. Just us. A few days later, Rachel texted. "The house sold. Mom and Dad are living with Ryan now. It's messy, but maybe it's for the best." I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. That night, after tucking the kids in, I made tea and sat by the window. The porch light remained off. I watched the street undisturbed. I watched nothing happen. And for the first time in years, I didn't brace for another knock. I didn't feel the need to explain. If you ever have to rewrite your story without telling anyone why, just leave your porch light off. They'll understand.